music for us. Thank you. Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome CSL East Hawaii. Woohoo! Look at your faces. What am I going to say next? Yes, thank you. You are magnificent. All right, one person, we can all say it. What is the I word? I am magnificent. Oh, come on, we can do better than that. Again, I am magnificent. Oh, my goodness. You know I get chicken every time you guys do that, right? You know I do. I just feel it all the way through. So I want to welcome all the new folks here today and all the faces I haven't seen in a while. In case you don't know who I am, I'm Reverend Beverley Strutt. I am the spiritual director here at this magnificent, beautiful center. And of course, I welcome the puppy. How's the puppy doing today? Loving it, huh? Loving it. Oh, fantastic. So before we get into anything today, if you have ELF behind your name, if you were an elf last week, can you please stand for me? Come on, all the elves. Come on, let's see you. All of the elves. I can see them all. There's a whole bunch of them. They're not standing up. Come on, where are the elves? Come on, there you are. Even if you just came and ate, that would be good. So these are the people I want to thank, and we can all do that for what we see in our sanctuary today. Thank you guys so much for showing up and for bringing the Christmas spirit to us. Yes, we had a wonderful, wonderful day. And I think we ate okay too, right? Yeah, there was no crack butter this week, but it was pretty good all the same. So, and one other thing I would like to speak to before we dive into this service today is the invitation Sandy made to the Leadership Council. So, you guys see me up here every single week in one form or another, unless, of course, I get to run away on a little vacay. And I don't do this alone. There's not a thing in this place that I do alone. I'm actually not even interested in doing it alone. We call this a collaborative event. Not just the setup on Sunday. I'm going to wave to Julia. She's taking a picture of me. And not just on Sunday, but every single day of the week. I don't do this alone. I don't make the decisions alone, although they are willing to let me guide them in decisions. But it is my leadership council, our leadership council, that guides the church, guides the direction, and ultimately makes the decisions. And ultimately has to be responsible for all of you and creating this environment. Because, you know, ministers are a dime a dozen. We come and go, we travel. But the board stays. The board stays. It is in a community. It holds us all together. So please, like Sandy said, if this is a feeling of a call on your heart, pick up some information at the front desk over there. In the newsletter, there's a link. You can just click it and go and let us know if you're interested. And of course, I'm always available to you if there's any other information that you'd like to know about it. But don't sit on it. It's fun. We have a good time. We do retreats. I cook. Anybody? Yeah. You know, here's the thing. You got to tempt everybody in, and I use food, and I'm not shy about it at all. Not shy. So what we have going on today is we have December 17th is winter solstice. Anybody not want to get up this morning? I mean, it was dark. It was damp. It was cool. Who did not want to get up this morning? I mean, I didn't. I really had to push myself up. And I'm like, what's going on? It might be the longest night of the year, the shortest day. Let me stay in. Let me cuddle down. And then I thought of all of you, and I'm like, oh, I guess I got to go. But anyway, we have winter solstice today, and of course we know that this is the, like the rebirth of the sun, the coming back around, the lengthening of the day, this beautiful renewal into a new form of life. And, us being children of the earth, it's a way of seeing us start a new cycle. We don't have to wait till the new year. We can start today. Anybody want to do the New Year's resolutions today? You can go ahead and do it. It's a new cycle of life. So we celebrate it, we enjoy it. And I have a little quote from Dasha Avili, who says, "After the longest night, tomorrow we sing up the dawn. There is a rejoicing that even in the darkest time, the sun is not vanquished. As of tomorrow, the sun begins to get longer as the light of day grows. While the gentle winter sun slowly opens its eyes, let us all bring more light and compassion to the world. Isn't that a lovely invitation to begin this time around the sun, this year, these new cycles? It's just wonderful. And of course, you know I can't go away from this without maybe a little humor about it too. I invite you to this pun. They say it's the lowest form of humor, but what the heck, let's go with it. So God is talking to one of his angels and says, do you know that what I have just done? And the angel goes, what? He goes, I have created a 24-hour period of alternating light and darkness on earth. Isn't that grand? The angel says, yes. But what are you going to do next? He goes, I think I'll just call it a day. Ching. All right. All right, I'm done. I'll see you next week. So long. No, you're not going to get away with it that easy, not today, because we are speaking this month about wholeness. We worked through the whole year of all the different aspects of who we are and what we can do and what we can cultivate, and we come down to this month of wholeness, and today we speak specifically about enriching the world. What is it that we bring to enriching the world? And most of it is through our wholeness. So we start with the global vision for Centers for Spiritual Living has this statement in it. It says, we envision all people, all beings, and all life as expressions of God. We see a world in which every person lives in alignment with his or her highest spiritual principle, emphasizing unity with God and connection with each other. A world in which individually and collectively, we are called to a higher state of consciousness and action. We envision a world that works for everyone. So we're called to this really high ideal of a world that works for everyone. But the one thing that we have to look at first of how can we have a world that works for everyone if we're looking at all of the things that are wrong, all of the things that are bad, all of the things that separate us. You know, I love that word, separation. No. We look at that so often. But what there's a beautiful thing that comes in from those astronauts that have circled the planet. Because you know from up there, you can see no separation. We just see this beautiful planet, this wonderful earth that we get to nurture, we get to love on. It is whole. It is whole. Yes, it is only a part of the greater universe, but it is still whole unto itself. All of those things that separate us are not visible from up there. We have one of the astronauts, Rusty. I'm just going to call him Rusty because his last name just doesn't want to work with my tongue this morning. One more time, it's waking up slowly. The coffee is setting in. All right. So Rusty, he became an astronaut in 1963 and served as the lunar module pilot for Apollo 9. And he circled the globe, and as he did so, he was identifying places like Los Angeles and Houston, North Africa. He was in the process of identifying with the world. As he saw this process began to shift from singular places to seeing the whole globe. He says, you begin to recognize that your identity with the whole thing, you actually identify with it all. You look down and can't imagine how many borders you cross, and you don't even see them. So as he's looking down, his eyes are crossing over all these perceived boundaries, borders, whether they're natural, whether they're self-imposed. People killing each other over some imaginary line. But you see it as a whole. And it's so beautiful, and you wish you could take individuals from each side in various conflicts, one each hand and say, look at it from this perspective. What's important? Then in doing a spacewalk and being in that incredible silence and beauty, he felt like he was sensing a point for humanity, for all humankind. I recognized, he said, that we are all pieces of this total life. We are all pieces of this one life, of this oneness, all pieces of the same whole. Gosh, wouldn't it be so amazing if we can truly see our world as this whole? Take that higher vision, rise up above it all, and go, what is that line over there? There's people here, there's people here. They're all the same. We're all made of the same stuff, right? Sure, we are raised with all these different traditions and everything, but in this whole idea of wholeness, we have to make a shift in consciousness, a choice. Oh, there's my word. There's my word. The choice. We have a choice to see things differently. And before we can even have a shift in humanity, we have to think about that shift within ourselves. Yep. Before we can even have a shift in the collective, we have to think about those shifts within ourselves. We have this wonderful minister, Reverend Scott Aubrey, who shares with the collective ministry of Centers for Spiritual Living passages every single week to support us in our talks and what's going on in the world. And he shared this week: to perceive our world as whole and to enrich the atmosphere of a shared life, we must first cultivate a sense of wholeness within ourselves. Simple, huh? Very simple. We release perceptions of separation or insufficiency about our own lives and instill the whole world with an energetic vibration of unity. In this consciousness, we are able to share love, passion, and dynamic activists with everyone. So it begins with us. Really? How many times do I have to say that? How many times through this year have we looked at everything and realized that no matter what we want to shift, it has to begin with us, first and foremost. No matter what you want to do out there, it has to begin in. Anybody remember my talk from 2 weeks ago when I spoke about the sheep? Anybody? Yes, we got one in the background over there. Sheep. Oh my, I got so many messages about, oh, I'm a black sheep, oh, I've got polka dots, oh, I've got multicolor, I've got a tail the same color as my dog, pink one. We were talking about sheep. Sheep being the fact that as a shepherd, you are never going to leave any sheep outside overnight or out of the fold. You're never going to do that. You're going to bring that sheep in. You know that sheep. He went and ate the wrong bramble. He's right out of there. He's not listening. You're calling. Come on. Is that sheep coming? No. Are you going to leave that sheep out there? No, you're not. You're going to go in and you're going to go grab that sheep. You're going to bring it into the fold. That one over there too. That one that's just really being a brat. You're going to bring that sheep in too. And these are all aspects of who we are. We have a whole bunch of sheep inside of us. A whole bunch of sheep. Every sheep representing a different aspect of who we are. Some of the stuff we like. Some of the things we don't like. So we have a tendency to push away the stuff we don't like. We're going to push that sheep away. He's bad. I don't want him in my fold. He's going to stay out overnight. He's going to learn not to do that thing again. Yeah. No, it's not going to work. We've tried it in ourselves, right? We've tried to separate ourselves from all of those things we don't like. But it does not work. And it not only does it not work for us, it doesn't work for our movement forward in this humankind planetary experience that we're having. Because as we are within, so we will be without. So we will be in community, so we will be in the world. You can't tell yourself and think that you can put yourself down, be mean to yourself, criticize those things, judge yourself, and that it's going to stop with you. That would be nice. It would be nice to think that we're that evolved that we can separate. Oh, there's that word again. Separate ourselves internally from how we show up in the world. Not going to happen. Anybody successful at doing that? Come on. Anybody successful at putting their home life and their inner life and their criticism of themselves in this bubble and keep it away from everybody else and it never shows up? Anybody? Come on. There's got to be one of you that says, I never judge anybody the way I judge myself. Don't believe it. I'm not believing you. I know it's a great idea and I know you work into it because I know you do your work. But we're working towards it. But we still judge on the outside based on how we judge on the inside. And the thing about it is all those people are showing up to be judged as a reflection of what you're doing to yourself. Oh. Yeah. All right, let me go back to that pun. That was a lot much more fun than this deep work over here. But no, we have to do this. We have to do this because if we truly would love to see a world that has no separation in it, that we come into wholeness, we have to start in our own world. We got to do it. You know, we actually have to bring in that sheep. You know that one thing, you know that thing you did when you were 5 years old? That has grown a taproot inside of you, that I'm not enough and I can't do this and I shouldn't do this and ooh, people don't like me. Yeah. Can you bring that sheep in and go, you know what? I was mistaken about the way I thought about you. I thought that this was the way it was, and it wasn't. So come here. Let's see how I can love on you today. Let's see how I can bring you in. And you know what, folks? Even if you can't do that, even if you can't give yourself that complete forgiveness and stop the judgment, don't leave it outside. There's no outside, for starters, so bring it in. Bring it in. Bring all of that stuff in. Look on it and go, I am going to shine the light of love upon you inside of me, knowing that it's all good, it's all love. Let's toss some love around. Yeah, we got Pete in the back. He's throwing some love around today. So let's throw some love around inside of us, because we have to start with ourselves. This is the way we walk it out, first and foremost. Because I can give you all of those things, you know, the butterfly wings, the ripple in the pond, all of those things are relevant. Because as we make a shift in us, the universe responds in agreement. Oh, I think I got to repeat that. As we make it, remember I first said, as our perception shifts, so the universe comes into agreement with us. As we shift in ourselves and our love for ourselves, so God, the universe, spirit, is saying yes. Yes. And it's going to ripple out into the world, because you cannot change and think that it's not going to change around you. And you cannot think that things are going to change around you if you don't change. It takes each and every one of us to actually start the movement of change. It doesn't matter if it's a thought, it doesn't matter if it's a prayer, it doesn't matter if it's a picket sign, it doesn't matter what it is, but it begins inside of you, a willingness to have a different experience, a willingness to see something different. And it does take every one of us to do this work. If we truly want to see change in the world, if we want to bring forward something even more spectacular than we see right now, we have to start with ourselves, and it takes each and every one of us to do it. We can't say, oh, that person's going to do it, that's good, I'm good. Nope, it takes each and every one of us. So I am going to read you a story today. I'm actually going to pull out a chair. Nobody's ever seen me do this. I'm going to pull out a chair right there. I'm going to get my glasses. And I'm going to read you a Once Upon a Time. Yes. Ooh, I get to sit down during service. Yeah, I feel like a little girl on my little chair in a little library. All right, so take a deep breath in. Some of you may have heard this story before. That's okay. It's going to have something new in it for you right here, right now. So once upon a time, there was a little village. It was a lot like other little villages in the area, except for one thing. It was just like all the other villages. Other villages had something that enabled them to stand out. One had the tallest spire in the area, another had the most amazing archway as you walked into the town square. Another had an incredible fountain in the town square. This village had nothing to make it stand out. It was very, very ordinary. So one day the village decided to do something about it. They were unsure exactly what to do, so they gathered for a village meeting. A number of ideas were put forward about building this or that. Most of them were just too expensive or too difficult. What about the fountain? One enterprising young man asked. Like all other villages, there was a fountain in the middle of the town square. Oh, the town to the south has a great fountain. We could never build anything like that, was the reply from the floor, with mumbles of agreement from within the crowd. No, but what if we filled ours with lemonade? We would be the first to have a lemonade fountain in our village, the young man continued. Lemonade? That would take liters and liters. No one has that much lemonade. The crowd was starting to get nasty. You can see them, right? Do you really think we have that much lemonade? But this wasn't going to deter the young man. Yes, it would take liters and liters, he agreed. But look around the room. How many of us are there? I have worked out how much we would need and how many people there are, and look at the long and short of it, all of this. If every person in the village brought 1 cup of lemonade, we would have enough to fill the fountain, and we would be the first village to have a lemonade fountain. I want a lemonade fountain. Wouldn't that be cool? We could put a lemonade fountain out front there, put a sign outside going, free lemonade. We all have enough lemon trees, don't we? I mean, come on, during the season, we always have buckets and buckets of lemons coming in. We could do a lemonade fountain. Most of the crowd erupted at the ridiculous idea and the terrible calculations, all except for one old man who was one of the town's best craftsmen, known for his skill and wisdom. He rubbed his chair and thought carefully, and after a few minutes, while others talked about how impossible the task was, he motioned to get everybody's attention. He goes, I've thought about this. He looked over at the young man and took a breath. I think he could be right. There is about the right number of people, and the fountain is probably the right size. This left the room stunned in silence. While the young man might have been crazy or naive, no one doubted the old man's wisdom. I think I just lost my mind. Let's see if that's the truth. Oh, it could be. So the young man stood again, but this will only work if everyone brings a cup. It can't work if most of us or some of us do this. We all have to agree. Have we heard that before? We all have to participate. We all have to agree. At this point, all eyes turned to the mayor. He shrugged and stood. Well, I call for a vote. If everyone agrees, let's do this. But if some people are against it, we cannot go ahead. I'm standing up because in case my mic goes down, I've got another one right next to me. So after voting, the mayor stepped forward with the results, his eyebrows raised as he read the note before him. It announced 100% of the vote had agreed to try the lemonade fountain idea. 100%. Well, what do we have to lose, he said. The meeting was finished with an agreement that the fountain would be drained of all the water in it the following week. Everybody would come with a cup of lemonade, and there would be a ceremony, a celebration for everybody as they poured the lemonade into the fountain. I'm always up for a party. How about you? Maybe we should think about this lemonade fountain. It could be a great idea. So while the meeting finished with a number of people still a little skeptical, over the course of the week, there was a growing sense of excitement about the lemonade fountain. People talked about how exciting it would be. So on the day, which became known as the Filling Day, there was a sense of celebration and a festive atmosphere. On Filling Day, everyone in the village lined up with their cup, eager to add the lemonade fountain. The town mayor stood with a list of everyone's name. They were checking it twice. As people poured their cup into the fountain, their name was ticked off. The young man stood by, and the people would clap him on the back and congratulate him as they watched the level of the fountain grow. Finally, the last person added their cup, and the fountain was full. The young man had been right all along. The fountain had been filled by everyone in the town, and a cheer went up as the fountain was turned on. The young man took a cup and went to taste the fountain while the rest of the town celebrated. And as he tasted from the cup, he looked confused. He looked to the old man and drew another cup, again looking confused. And the old man likewise drew a cup, looked at the young man. They looked at each other at the same time. They said, "It tastes like water." The old man looked around and saw a young child looking at the ground. He bent down and made the child look at him and said, "Child, did you put lemonade in the fountain?" The child looked down again and shook his head. "My mother said it wouldn't matter if we added some water. Everyone else is given lemonade. A cup here or there wouldn't matter." The old man looked up and found another random person and asked him, "Did you put lemonade in the fountain?" The man's face dropped and said it all. One cup of water wasn't going to make a difference. The old man asked another, with all these people, one cup of water wouldn't be noticed. Again and again, the same reply, it was just one cup. He then stood on the edge of the fountain and called for everyone else's attention, who by now was confused by not having a lemonade fountain. Did anyone add lemonade to the fountain? Some people did not even bother to put their hands up and just looked at the ground. Others started to raise their hands and then realized their lie and ended up looking down. After a minute or two, there was an awkward silence when everyone looking down and no hands in the air. And the village remained ordinary. So you see, it takes all of us. But it takes all of us in a willingness to participate fully, truthfully, and willingly. Because every cup of lemonade counted. Every cup. We always bring ourselves to the party. So when we commit to something, when we want to support it, like this idea of a world that works for everyone, we all have to show up. And we can't bring water when we've promised lemonade. We have to bring lemonade. For we can only make choices and changes when we choose to participate. So let me remind you of what we said at the beginning of all of this. We started the service, and I said, "You are magnificent." And we all agreed, we are magnificent. It's time to lean into that. It's time to lean into your magnificence. It's time to know that this is the truth of who you are. Not just say it. Bring your cup of lemonade. Bring your magnificence to the table right here, right now. And to do that, you've got to bring all of your sheep in. You can't leave aspects of yourself out and go, "Oh, I'm magnificent here, but I'm not here." No, all of you is magnificent. And when you can bring your magnificence in as your cup of lemonade to the world, we can have a world that is magnificent. Even more magnificent than we have right now. They had a fountain. They wanted a lemonade fountain, but they brought water. We have a magnificent world, and we want a greater magnificent world. Bring your magnificence fully. Participate. Don't let any part of yourself get away with this. Bring yourself in. Do your work. Know the truth of who you are. No buts. You know me, I always say whatever the but and follows the but is your truth. No buts. You are magnificent, and know that that is the truth of who you are. Remember this, and this is the challenge, this is the charge for you as you walk through this week. Honor that you are a lemonade fountain. Fill yourself with lemonade. Fill the people around you with lemonade. Walk forward in that magnificence, knowing that this is the truth of you and you and you and you and all of you together. Because it's only there when we shift that we can shift the consciousness in the world and create a world that is magnificent and works for everybody. For we release the judgment in ourselves, we will release the judgment in our communities and across the world. So let me hear, I am magnificent. Let me hear it.
I am magnificent.
Louder.
I am magnificent.
Softer. I am magnificent. Yes, you are. And don't forget that. And I'm going to close with a little quote from Dr. Ernest Holmes, the founder of our teaching. When we find ourselves in a difficult situation, instead of becoming confused or fearful, let us stop for a moment, get away from the argument which tells us that we do not know what to do, and begin to affirm this. There is a presence and power and intelligence within me that does know. The spirit within me is God, the infinite intelligence, the universal mind, the divine and perfect complete wholeness. It knows, and it knows in me, and it does now guide and guard me. Let this presence guide and guard you to your magnificent now and moving forward. And so it is. Thank you. Let's take this to prayer. So let's take a beautiful deep breath in. Oh, as we recognize and know the power and presence of the divine that is working in, through, and as each and every one of us right here, right now. We recognize and know that there's absolutely nothing else but this creativity, this brilliance, this spirit that is through us. We know that it is always here. It is never away. It's never left out in the cold. It is the truth of who we are deep inside, and we can lean into that to recognize and see and know without a shadow of a doubt that we truly are magnificent, that we are children of this divine. We are creations made magnificently in every way. And so no matter what we do as we walk our week, no matter how we can maybe look at stuff that we've done in our past, look at stuff that we're doing now, presently, we can say that it is all just part of who we are right here, right now. And so I know for each one of us as we walk our path today, as we walk it out during the week, and as we walk it out as we move through this new year that has been brought by the beautiful sun that has come back, that has been reborn in this new cycle, I know that we can see in us the value of leaning into our brilliance, our magnificence, and more importantly, our wholeness. For as we do this, so we shift, and as we shift, the world comes into agreement with us. So I know that it is good. So I just release this prayer into the universal action of law, knowing that it is done, knowing that Spirit has said, of course, Of course, my beloveds, you've set your intentions, you've expressed your desires, and it is already done, just waiting to reveal in you as you open your heart and your mind to more brilliance, more wonderment in awe. And so I call it good. So I release this prayer knowing that it is so, and we claim it together by saying, and so it is. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Dennis and Christy.